Okay, this is a quick understanding here by God is King movement. And the question that we're going to ask is this question right here. Is the Quran absolute truth without hadith? Meaning, can you understand the Quran without using the hadith? Can you follow the Quran without following the hadith? Now, let's change these two words because this is definitely a battle against something what is called relative. Well, basically, this is something that is called relativity. So
Relativism.
relativism. So that's the word that I was trying to say. Relativism. So this moral relativism. So here you have a statement coming from God is King movement. The statement is the Quran the absolute without hadith? Like, can you be a Muslim without hadith? Now, let's take the two words that we know. Right here is the Quran. We're going to change that word Quran because the Quran is from Allah. So we're going to put Allah in this Quran word right here. And we're going to ask the same question. And hadith, we're going to put Muhammad in the hadith. We're going to ask the same question again. Is Allah absolute truth without Muhammad? Is that a true fact? Is that yes or no? Now, if you want to debate upon that right there, then you're not in Islam. You don't follow the Quran. You don't follow Allah's word. Muhammad didn't follow nothing else but this Quran. That is the absolute. Allah is the absolute. And I'm talking from me being an al-Katab, meaning I am the people of the books prior, before even Muhammad knew about Allah. We knew about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you could call Allah by different names. I could say Nami, that means Allah. So the question is Allah absolute without Muhammad? Now let's cut the chase, because I know a lot of people out there, they trying to embarrass people who actually says that the Quran is all that you need. You don't need to have to follow something called hadith, Muhammad. And people would say, well, how will we pray? How will we do this? How will we do that? Allah tells you how to pray. And he's been telling us how to pray for a long time. Prayer has been established way before Muhammad came into play. So prayer is nothing new. So you could take your relativism self right out the box, because this is why the world is being the way it is. It's because y'all don't follow Allah. See, now I just took this word Allah and put it in the Quran because the Quran is from Allah. But people would say, well, how would you know that? Now there goes a point in case that people always ask that when they into this right here. You know why? Because when they into this right here, relativism goes all the way down to there, and it starts to say the documents that knowledge and truth and morality exist in relations, okay, to culture, society, or historical context, and or not absolute. You see that? So when you see relativism, the idea that truth is what? It's a historically, look at that, conditioned notion that does not transcend culture boundaries, has existed since the Greek era 2,400 years ago. So look what it says here. It's where I got this at. I said, first of all, when you talk about moral relativism, ism means it's a superior. So what are you saying? You're saying moral relativity is superior. So we have this word here, suppleness and narcissist. This is what you knowing. This is not what is already known. Allah is already known throughout the world. It was known before Muhammad even came into existence. Okay? That this here, Allah, the Quran, the word, is absolute. There's nothing unto this. So what other thing you need besides this? People said that's why people who Muslims like to degrade or belittle or something like that, they like to say, well, Christians believe that in order to get to Allah, you have to follow Jesus Christ. Now, what are Muslims saying? They saying the same thing. In order to get to Allah, you have to follow Muhammad. People go, oh, no, that's not that. Yeah, that is true. Some people say that is true. Some people say, no, that's not true. So now we in a standstill. Well, which one is it? Well, then we go to this way, with this word right here, subjectivism, out of relativity. Because see, it's two. It's conventionals and it's subjective. And that one is the theory of moral principles or valid, check it out, relative to individual choice. We're not talking about choice. This word here. See that? Choice. We're not talking about that. We're talking about this right here is absolute. So is the Quran, is Allah absolute without Muhammad? And you can put Muhammad's name and you can add hadith. Now who is saying this? This is quickly easy by Shaitan. This is Satagura. This is Satagura. All right? True teacher. But I'm not the teacher. Allah is the teacher. I'm just teaching what Allah taught, given to us by the Quran, by Muhammad. Now, how do you accept Muhammad? Easy, because you accepted the Quran. Muhammad is just a messenger. Nothing else. That's it. Khalas. End of the story. But here, Allah is where we are supposed to be. God is king. Allah is king. There's no other king. Not like Saudi Arabia has a king now. Like who else was a king besides Allah? See, people can't understand this. As it is said, many are called, but only a few are chosen. How are many are called? That means Allah calls all of us. But the choice is actually, here you go, within you, right? As an individual, right? But no, Allah calls who He wants to the fold of Islam. You could take 100,000 shahadas, which is a shirk oath, because if you ever read the Fatiha, it already tells you Allah alone. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Period. Didn't say, oh, well, you have to believe in Allah alone, and also to believe in Allah alone, you must go through Muhammad. Stop it. Stop it, Muslims. Stop it. So many of y'all right now is it's incredible how y'all try to belittle the creator and then laugh at everybody else, and now you're a part of that laughter. That's just facts. That's not fiction. You into relativism because you say, well, the hadiths is the culture, it's the knowledge, it's the truth, and without having hadith you can never understand the Quran. So basically you're saying to people, without knowing Muhammad, right, you would never ever know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is false right there. Because before Muhammad even called this name Allah, it was already long before. Even in Ibrahim, right? Abraham was called, knew Allah, and was called Muslimin. So, according to the Quran, now, if you're a Muslim and you want to debate about the Quran, please let me know where people said in the Quran there are weak, daif, all types of different stuff in the Quran. In fact, the Quran is memorized by Hafiz, right? Name me a Hafiz that knows the whole hadith like the Quran. There is none. There is none. That's because Allah is absolute. Not this person here. This is a man, and he makes mistakes. I don't care what y'all call him, a prophet, a messenger. You could call him, you could call him son of God. So as far as I'm concerned. But you know what? He doesn't compare to this. This is absolute by itself. This doesn't need this hadith to explain this. This explains itself. You're going to tell me that Allah needs a man to explain Allah? The creator needs the creation to explain about the creator? No. Oh no, we Shaitan has wrapped his claws around so many people throughout the religious sector. And number one, y'all religious. Y'all not spiritual. Because spiritual people understand this is easy. The law is absolute. That's easy for a spiritual person. Not 110% easy. But God is king. That's easy for a spiritual person. A religious person can't handle this because they need a Muhammad is a king. That's what they need. See, but a spiritual person understands this. Allah is king. They don't need no Muhammad to be a king. They don't need a Muhammad to lead them to righteousness. Allah is the leader of our lives. Allah is the one that gives us breath, that makes our bodies move. None of this other stuff. Muhammad has nothing. In fact, Muhammad was illiterate. He could never ever matching up to the Quran. So some people, and this might be to not disrespect Muhammad, because Muhammad didn't give orders to write hadith. Hadith came after 200 years. They call them Salih. Right? Salih, hadith, hadith Qusi. Then Allah gets a hadith called the Allah hadithin. So Allah sunnah. So what other sunnah or hadith you need besides Allah? See, but you know, this is another thing. This is what it says, and see where it says do not reflect. It says relativity, right? Relativism, right? Is a moral relativism is the position that moral or ethnic propositions do not reflect. And what do we mean by the word reflect? It means think deeply on objective and or universal moral truths, but instead what they do, make claims relative to social culture and, look at that word, historical and I put one over there, religion, or personal circumstances, convictions that Jesus, I put Jesus here, right? Jesus Christ or Muhammad is my Lord and Savior. Stems from ethical relativism and subjectivism of my individual choice. But it is really based on our culture, aka religious teachings, trainings, and conditioning. So, people, the question I ask you, and guess who used this? The Satanist elite occult uses moral relativism to us. Because why? When we talk about the Quran, right? And people says all you need, because first of all, people not like these desert Arabs who were paganists, who didn't even understand nothing. They didn't understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, monotheism. Even though Ibrahim lived around, walked around that area, whatever as they claim, okay? They still fell back into idolatry, worshiping images and stuff like that. This is why the Quran came to recite and confirm that. Like now, I got to understand pantheism. Because a pantheism person is a person that says everything that you see that lives is created by Allah. Or everything that is here is created by Allah. Meaning the rocks, the water, the air, the fire, the birds, the animals, all of that, everything is Allah within those things because they are created by the Creator. Now, if they read something of the Yusuf Sarar, they will understand that humans can also alter a creation and create something out of it. But at the end of the day, Allah allowed that to come into existence. So like that's like a peach, and you use the science of taking an apple and combining it into a peach. And now when people bite the peach, they taste the apple. Or when they bite the apple, they taste a peach. So it's called apple peach, right? But prior before that, it was just an apple and a peach. Now who created it different is us. That's where you get something like the hadith. You understand? When people talk about hadith and somebody talks about Quran, you being a Muslim, you have to understand that when you talk about Muhammad hadith and you say we need a hadith to understand the Quran, you are saying that whatever Allah says in the Quran is false. Y'all saying that whatever Allah says is false. You're saying that Muhammad is the one who created the whole system of the Quran. So if Muhammad created Islam, right? Then what we are following is a false belief. And I'm from Al-Kitab, and I can tell you that right off the bat. And people, first of all, how can I believe that the Quran is the truth if I don't speak the language that the Quran is spoken into? How can I take that as the Quran being absolute truth? That's crazy, right? That's insane, right? That any book that I will read, outside of my language that I know, how can I accept those books as being the truth or the word of the Creator and I don't even know the language? You understand what I'm saying? So basically, what y'all all are saying is that Allah is so dumb and stupid. The Creator, whatever name you want to give him, is so dumb and stupid that the Creator cannot speak to us through different language. Now, like the books is the only way that the Creator speaks to us. That's stupid. Now, the other stupid part is that no book is truly the words of Allah because no, if you take all the oceans, rivers, and everything, add it as ink, surely it would not even be enough to write the book of Allah. So even though we have the Quran, the Torah, the Injil, all these different books, the Bhagavad Gita, the Upashar, and all these different books, that still does not exacerbate the words of Allah if it was written. This is Sataguru saying, wake up, Muslims. Because the only thing that exists is Iyaka na'budu wa Iyaka nasta'in. La ilaha illallah. That's it. Peace. I told you I'd come for y'all next.